We're going to move on to actual news that actually affects people, like YouTube expanding its premium Lite offering. What do you got for us on that?
This one feels a little weird to me too. One, I did not know that there was I had heard of it, but I did not know it had gone through and had actually been released because it's not available here, obviously. But YouTube Premium has a second service called YouTube Premium Lite. Guess what? You get less ads in YouTube Premium Lite. You get the lack of, for talking purposes, you get the lack of the ability to download episodes for offline viewing. Well, YouTube says we need to change that because we have listened to our subscribers. We know what they want. So what we have done is give you more of the features that you want in YouTube Premium Lite because you're not willing to pay those extra few bucks for YouTube Premium. I get it. I feel you. I don't want to pay it either. But here's the thing on that, and I'm having to pull my notes back up where my stuff got a little disconnected. So give me just a second. You're getting the downloading back of episodes and you're still keeping the less ads. That's kind of the big thing people wanted. And they wanted the ability to, I don't know how many people actually notice this. I kind of take it for granted. When you're watching a YouTube video and you open up another app on your phone, if you don't pay for YouTube Premium, guess what happens? The video stops playing. Or you can't listen to it in the background. So that feature has been added to YouTube Premium Lite as well. So if you're watching a video and you send a text, you can slide the video to one side or not slide it at all, but the video will keep playing and you can keep listening to it while you send a text, while you look something up, etc. So then I started thinking about it. Why are we doing this? Because the pricing of YouTube Premium Lite is close to the pricing of YouTube Premium. Now, YouTube Premium does include YouTube Music. That's a big deal for a lot of people, myself included. I use YouTube Premium because I don't want to deal with the ads. That's my big thing. I really don't download episodes. I don't want the ads, and I like YouTube Music for the most part. It works. It's an all-in-one subscription. I'm doing it the Google way. They're getting my money. But when I look at YouTube Premium Lite, the two features you've put back, the ability to download things and the ability to keep your videos and content playing while you multitask. And Google says, these are the two things that we were told people wanted with their user feedback. Before long, you're at the point where you're not differentiating between YouTube Premium and YouTube Premium Lite in any meaningful way. Maybe we get to a point where there's $1.50, $2, and I'm not saying $2 is insignificant. You multiply $2 times 12 months, that's $24. That's at least 2 trips to, Starbucks. I get it. But do we need YouTube Premium Lite at all?
Yeah, I think we do. I think they need to do better messaging. Because from everything you've described, it seems like YouTube Premium Lite is just YouTube Premium without YouTube Music. And for, again, people like us, people who are, I would say I am a Google Play Music, a bandee. Like that's where I was at. That's where I put on my music. I was, occasionally I go to Spotify, but I haven't gone to Spotify in years now as part of my own protest. That's where you get your music if you're not using Apple Music. So they need to message saying the difference. You get all of the great features from YouTube Premium without the music portion, because again, that's big for people, and that makes sense. Hey, if it's a $5 difference, that's where your $5 is missing. You don't get access to music. You don't get access to the podcast. You don't get access to any of that. That makes more sense than to just have all of the most of the features and not explain one of the biggest portions of the music part of missing. So I think they need to message that better, saying all of the great features, all of the stuff you want. If you are using Spotify for your music, this is the best option for you. If you have no interest in our YouTube music offering, this will save you money. Save you money. If you're using Apple Music, will save you money. We're giving you all the same features. So that's my opinion. I could be wrong though, and if I am wrong, let me know in the comments.
No, you're right, and you bring up a very good point. They could very easily market this as video only, and probably very much get the message across, and probably get more subscribers, because that's more of a cut and dry. I've got my Apple iTunes.
But when you're paying these consultants all this money, you got to keep paying them so they can figure out a messaging. And once they figure it out, then you won't pay them. So they're going to keep making the messaging opaque. Like, maybe you can say that. Maybe when's our next meeting where you give me thousands of dollars? Oh, next week. All right, we'll talk again next week. We won't solve it this week. We'll circle back. We'll circle back. If you're a company saying we'll circle back, that means give us more money. Our next topic is it's another one from you. We got the Galaxy S26 lineup, the big awaited opening salvo for smartphones in 2026.
All right, here we go, folks. And I kind of shortened this up just a little bit because,
I mean, to be honest with you, there's not much there.
Well,
we'll get into what is there though.
That's kind of where I'm going with it. There's just not much there this time, and this kind of maybe even this should have been my rant at the beginning of the pod. But in the first event of 2026, we had another edition of Galaxy Unpacked 2026. We've gotten used to this name by now, and we kind of know what comes with these events. So what did we get? We got the Samsung Galaxy Ultra 26 and the rest of the Samsung S26 lineup, the S26 and the S26 Plus. As expected, the lineup continued to receive refinements featuring slimmer builds, lighter frames, and a more unified design. We're not really surprised there. The Ultra came down to 214 grams. So we're down to grams. We're not even at ounces anymore. We're talking grams. Not that grams are not significant. Grams add up to ounces. We've got the new Snapdragon Elite 8 Generation 5. We've got enhanced cameras. We've also got, guess what? More AI features. Your circle to search is better. Your circle to search can grab more than one item if you circle it, and Samsung AI, powered by Gemini, can tell you about more than one item in your circle. You've also got what people are calling the big feature. I'm not sure people are going to like it though once they see it. The Samsung privacy display, which I'm going to copy what someone else said. Apple will copy this in a few years. What is Samsung privacy display? Well, have you ever been on like a subway or a bus or just sitting next to somebody, say a family member, on a long car ride, and you want to text your boyfriend or your
girlfriend you're cheating on?
Yeah, you've got a side relationship over there, and you don't want them to be able to look over and see your screen. Well, you can turn on privacy display, which kind of in the demo looks neat. It dims the screen and then dims the corners of the screen, so to speak, a little bit, where it's a lot harder. Somebody would have to be able to lean over and look directly in your phone to not be able to sideswipe you to get some idea of what you've got going on. So that was kind of the quote-unquote killer feature for the S26 lineup. You're getting Samsung One UI 8.5, better efficiency, better responsiveness, better privacy controls, and better multitasking with productivity tools. Just to get off phones for a minute, you're getting the new Galaxy Buds 4 also with these phones. So you kind of got the pairing there. Let's see, when are these coming out? March the 11th is when these are coming out. I've seen the phone starting at $16.99 without any trade-ins or any deals. I've seen it as low as $12.99 with some trade-ins and deals. And if you go all in and you've got, say, the Samsung S25 and you wanted to go to the 26, I've seen Best Buy run it as low as $399 with an S25 Ultra trade-in. Now, I'm just going to throw it out there before I throw it to you. If you've got an S25 and you've got it mostly paid for or paid for completely, keep your paid phone. Enjoy the fact that you don't have the bill, because I'm going to call this what I think it is. I felt this the whole time I wrote it. I slept on it for a day. I still don't feel any better about it. I get it. Money, release cycles, income flow. I understand it. It's kind of like Call of Duty Black Ops coming out every year. I get it. But there's just not enough here, I don't think, for people to let me run out and buy the S26. I don't see it. Even me as a tech enthusiast, if one was to say, hey, David, review this, would I review it? Absolutely. But am I in a hurry for March the 11th to get here so I can run out to my Verizon store or get on bestbuy.com or samsung.com and buy this phone? Absolutely not. I've got my S25 over here and it suits me fine. If I get the software upgrades that make some of it work, which usually happen later, great. I'll enjoy those software upgrades, but there's nothing there in the hardware stack that makes a hill of beans to me.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to second that. The phone itself, I don't think was mentioned in your description, is a little bit more refined. For those of you who have an S25, the S26 is more rounded. So picture the design like the bigger version of the S25 Plus, I think it is, which has the rounded, more iPhone-like feel in the hand. They did use, I think it's aluminum instead of titanium this time around, so it's slightly lighter, a little bit thinner. These are all just in the hand feels. You don't need necessarily any of that. They didn't add any new technology to the S Pen, which they could have. They didn't add any magnets on the back, which again, people are buying cases in order to stick your phone onto your car or whatever, as opposed to having it gripped by those phone holders. They use magnets now. Same for chargers. Go ahead.
And Samsung is the only one that has not adopted. I read something about that this morning where Samsung's taking some hits because they've not adopted those MagSafe magnets that everybody else has.
It's a Q charging that everyone was banging on Apple about about 5-6 years ago, and now they've adopted it in Samsung for whatever reason. They're saying, according to their telemetry, that people put cases on their phone, which is true, and most people will buy a case that has it on it. It'd be nice to not have to always have a case on your phone for added features. They said the same thing about kickstands and whatnot. So who knows if they're right or wrong in this decision? I think maybe next year, if they need to sell a feature, that'll be the next thing. As the other hardware thing that they have, again, is the screen itself. Tech is not something that'll come to your new phones. And this is the way that they're doing the pixels. They're using a double layer where the privacy screen fires up certain pixels while the other doesn't. And you can control that via software, which is pretty cool. Before, you'd have to buy these screen protectors or whatever from Amazon, from wherever you buy your local screen protectors from. And it would just blanket everything. It was, it offered that functionality across the entire stack of whatever your phone was because it was just layered on top. This now you can do per app. So again, if it's just messages or WhatsApp, specific messages in WhatsApp or in Messenger or Teams or whatever, whenever that pops up, whenever you go into that app, then the screen will produce this privacy layer, which is pretty cool. But if that isn't your jam, if you're not the 0.1% who uses privacy protector screens, save your money, wait for the next phone. Because aside from that, the speakers are roughly the same. The camera tech is a little cooler. They did, lift or were inspired by the ability. I think it's in the selfie cam where you can go from portrait to vertical without losing your footage. It all kind of stays the same. They're doing that, I think, with the main camera now too. So if you started filming vertical because you're doing, a conversation or interview, and then you want to zoom out to the wider thing and do it horizontal, you can do that without losing the footage. So that's pretty cool. But again, I don't think it's the biggest selling point of the phone.
I want to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to make one statement and certainly give you a chance to respond to it. Phones don't go any further that matter until Apple does the folding phone. Once Apple does the folding phone, because I was thinking about this in moment, my shower is my thinking time. Just to give you folks some insight. I was actually thinking about that this morning because I had my phone on a podcast while I was in the shower, and I was just listening away, and somebody was talking about the iPhone and, the iPhone market share and how the iPhone market shares, so tremendous. Everybody's got one. The phone market does not change until Apple perfects the folding iPhone.
As an Apple fanboy, I suppose you could say that is probably a valid statement. I think we've hit the limit of what we will do on a phone or on a mobile device without the requisite infrastructure of a desk and other accessories. And this is much larger.
I can agree with that.
Because the Fold is out there, and I think the Fold offers a lot of utility. The Pixel Fold does a lot of utility, and I do believe the Apple Fold will offer a lot of utility. But what is fundamentally different than the iPad mini that you would do on this phone without having a dedicated keyboard, a dedicated mouse, a desk, knowing that this is where I'm going to do work or do whatever it is I need to dig into? I think there are things you can do quickly on a foldable, which makes it, infinitely more usable than just a slab phone, as opposed to, and I've gotten used to trying to do doubles, the double screen on my S25 Edge, and it's a cool feature that Samsung offers where you can do like 1/8 of the screen as the app in the background, and you can quickly, jump in between that and a full size version of the other app. So, if I'm looking at YouTube Music, there's a little bit portion of the screen at the very bottom that's still the other app that I might want to jump back into if I need to copy paste stuff. That is great. That offers a world of opportunity, especially for people who only have a phone. There are a lot of people I didn't realize that don't have laptops, they don't have desks.
I've noticed that too.
They just use their phone, and this would be great for them. And the Fold will offer up even more than that, but there is not going to be a new paradigm like the phone itself, where we start consolidating all of our things into these foldables. We've hit the limit, I think, on what we were willing to, as a people, as a behavior, as computing behavior, do on a foldable. And I think even if Apple maximizes that, think about it. They already have a ton of iPad apps. They're just going to shrink these iPad apps to their foldable phone. And yeah, you could probably do Adobe Photoshop on this foldable, but do you really want to? Just like I don't think a ton of people are doing Photoshop at length on an iPad. They're not doing it, Premiere at length on an iPad. They're not doing, or certainly they may not even trust banking on their iPad. They may say, all right, let me open up the Mac to fully do what I need to have 23 windows of different things open at once. So I think, while people are gonna come out and say, oh, it's great, the actual behavior of people who buy phones and do things on phones or do things mobilely isn't going to change, not drastically.
Without going too far and taking up too much time, I want 30 seconds to dream for a minute. Michael Fryer, I think I'm pronouncing his name right. He did a wonderful YouTube video this week where he had the triple fold Samsung. And he went overseas. I think it was Japan. I think he was there for Samsung's event, or he was there for something for Google or something. I don't remember what it was. But anyway, he wanted to see how far he could push the trifold phone. So he used it as his primary laptop. He bought a Bluetooth keyboard. He bought a Bluetooth mouse. He bought all kinds of stands, and he hooked it up, and he showed that it was possible to do in coffee shops and whatnot. So it made me think, how did all this start? Let's go all the way back. I'm a believer that things draw full circle sometimes. In the late 90s, early 2000s, we had this thing called a Palm Trio. We had all kinds of different versions of it. We had a Windows mobile version even. What was our complaint with that? Your input was via stylus. That was your complaint with that. The touchscreen wasn't there yet. You use that doggone stylus to try to type with, and you'd see people walking around pecking. All right, so we got rid of that. We went to touchscreens. Now we've got input. Now we can do touchscreens. Now we've got touchscreen keyboards, and we're going at it. But to your point, we have reached the threshold, I think, of what people are willing to do with these phones without external devices. So, do we go full circle and see something like the old Blackberries, the old Palm Trios, or something along those lines with the little scroll wheel ball type mouse on the bottom of it in some way to where there's a cursor on your screen and you can navigate your trifold phone and drag, drop, click, etc. alongside your touchscreen? Because I think to your point, if we're going to go trifold, I think these phone makers are going to start trying to figure out how to get those other input devices on the phone. And you're going to see some finagling things tried. I could see something with a ball mouse on the bottom of it where you could scroll a mouse pointer around a trifold screen. I could see that work. Just a thought. I kind of went out there on a limb for a minute, but it wouldn't surprise me to see somebody try that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to belate this any longer, but I honestly, this is being as candid as possible, I think there's going to be a move away from the internet and from perhaps even the phone. And maybe it's just me being optimistic, but I think, again, going back to our very first conversation about the rant, all this consolidation, all this AI, I think people are going to start trusting the internet less and less and wanting to be on it less and less. You get, we are millennials, they're boomers. We doom scroll. I don't think the younger generations want to doom scroll. And if that's all that these services and apps are providing you on the internet, I think you're going to have, hopefully, people spend more time in the real world, and that translates to less usage of a phone. I think that we're going to, and again, I think we've hit peak phone, peak features, peak reasons to be on your phone. And I think we're just now, I think the company starts finding a way to pare back some of these features and make people use their phone less, will be the one that wins. Yeah, we can give you 30,000 features, but if we nail the 5 that you do all the time that allows you to get back into the real world and do other things, that you will be the phone that people choose. Yeah, I can have a Swiss Army knife, but if it can't cut the steak that I want to eat, I'm just going to go for the one steak knife. So that's my take on it.